的当地消费者和200名的经销商到场。如果你有兴趣参加，请联系我们报名。
Distributors that attended this event, you are welcome to sign up for that event in Philippines in July. And before we get started, I would like to thank the support of the e-cigarette professional committee of Chinese Electronics Chamber of Commerce. And therefore, before our program, I would like to invite Shani Chen, the Secretary General Assistant of the association, to address the event. Welcome. Thank you, Sean. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm pleased to be invited by the ValiTalk. I am Sunny. I am the Secretary General Assistant of the E-Cigarette Professional Committee of China Electronics Chamber of Commerce. It is my pleasure to meet some friends from Philippines. ECCC is our abbreviation of our committee. Now we have over 600 members, and our members that manufacture and also promote those best-selling products to different countries. And most of those, the best-selling e-cigarette products actually are produced in Shenzhen. So I'm very pleased and very proud of our city. And today we also have members attended to our today's ValiTalk, and we do hope that we can have more deep cooperation with the Philippines. Therefore, why we have invited many members to attend our today's ValiTalk. And finally, I wish today's ValiTalk is successful. Will be a complete success, and in the future, when we have beat the COVID-19, that we are able to make business and to the globe. Thank you. Thank you for your speech.
So I will kick off this panel. All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being with ValiTalk today. My name is Sean. I'm the founder of ValiTalk. So ValiTalk is a loan program designed for vaping industry, and we bring e-cigarette consumers, influencers, resellers from worldwide, as well as we bring manufacturers to have a regular program to talk and share your idea. So our first destination is in Philippines. So with us today, you will see we have four distinguished guests from China side, also 5 panelists from Philippines to hear about what Philippine consumers think about e-cigarettes. So now let's move on to the panelist introduction. They are Alan, product manager from Airscreen. And second is Kathy, product director from Eloking. And third is Cliff, marketing director from UL. And fourth, Jane, brand director from ICCPB, WUPO. Thank you. So now I'd like to give the chance to our panelists from China to introduce themselves one by one. Thank you so much. Alan?
Hey, thanks for having me here. I'm Alan. I'm from the Airscreen product department. So briefly introduce Airscreen for you guys. We are a startup company. We start our journey at 2018. We have the team of 13 professionals spread across 7 countries and regions. So I think it's one of small company around the startup vape companies here. So we come together with a vision of the creating UK-based international lifestyle brand delivers happiness and providing the wow experiences to our teams and of course the customers. So far we have launched Airs Pops for our vape product range, in the Ring 313 for the clothing and lifestyle merchandise brand as online. And also we collaborate with our local distributors and start a 313 coffee vape shop. 313 vape shop in New Zealand. So hope we have a great time today. And yep, again. Yeah, that's
Thank
it.
you, Alan. Thank you, Alan. And the next one will be Kathy.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This is Cassie, product director from Inoking. Maybe some people might be curious, why is a girl is a product director? Yes, I'm a girl, but I'm a product director. Inoking is founded in 2011. Actually, it's 11 years now. But maybe for Philippine market, it's still a new brand. Well, Inoking is always focused on new product and new tech. Even it's a new product, new brand in Philippine market. But I'm sure we will have some wonderful products soon, and we will meet the Philippine market soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kathy. Now, next one will be Cliff.
大家好，我是来自 UVL 的张旭啊，我负责这边的品牌和市场相关的工作。
I'm Cliff. I'm from UWell. I'm responsible of the marketing. UWell, that is an integrated company that has its own design, manufacturing. So we are a professional brand in vaping that you may be familiar with Calibran series and also Crown series product and also Valerian series. And these are our main products. It is my great pleasure to be here. I hope that through today's ValiTalk, we are able to exchange our ideas with our Philippine counterparts, that we are able to make our contribution to the development of the vaping industry that in Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you. Next one, Jay.
Hello，大家好，就是现场的朋友们，还有
Hello, good afternoon. My name is James. I think it is my great honor to have this kind of the opportunity to talk and meet with one another, even through the hybrid form of online and offline. My name is Jen. I'm from the ICCPP company. You may not familiar with ICCPP, but I believe that you have known Wupo. This is our brand. For example, Jack X Wing Spot. These are our products, and those are our mainstream product that developed by Wupo. Our company, ICCPP, was founded 8 years ago. That we have ability in terms of design, R&D, manufacturing, and distribution. We have two main brands, Wupo and Zoo. And we also have opened ODM Plus, a business with on the market. I hope that we are able to bring better products to the Philippine market. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your introduction. Let's give a big hand to our guests from China side.
Over to our Philippines moderator, Joy. Joy, back to you.
Panelists in China, and of course, good afternoon, Philippines. Thank you so much, Sean, for introducing everyone. Once again, welcome to ValiTalk. Let me introduce myself first. I am Joy Barcoma, and I'll be your host for today's ValiTalk. I'm a beauty queen, Miss World Philippines 2021 Beauty with a Purpose awardee, brand ambassador of different brands and clients here in the Philippines. And as a mental health ambassador, I know the importance of things that decreases depression, one of which, according to studies, is vaping. It relieves stress and anxiety too. So today, we will have a panel discussion about the global vaping market. Whatever we call it, e-cigarettes, e-cigs, mods, vape pens, vapes, or tank systems, we will talk about vape. But before that, let's first have an icebreaker. For this icebreaker, I will be reading some questions, and all you need to do is to raise your hand to answer. Is that all right with you guys? All right, so let's start with our representatives or panelists from the Philippines. Now raise your hand if you have ever been to China. All right, so Sir Richie and Sir Raf were able to go to China. Now let's move on to our next question. One word to describe China. I think we'll have to start with Attorney Kim David. One word to describe China.
China is lit.
China is lit. That's a good answer. How about you, Sir John Joseph?
Trade partner.
Trade partner. So China is lit and a trade partner. Now let's move on to something fun. Name your favorite Chinese food. I'm gonna ask Mr. Archie Malati for that. What is your favorite Chinese food?
That's a great question. I'd go with dim sum and dumplings.
Dim sum and dumplings. I like that as well. How about you, Sir Richie? What is your favorite Chinese food?
I don't know if you call it siopao in China, but I love siopao.
Siopao. Wow, I love siopao as well. I love xiaolongbao. Thank you so much for that. Dim sum, dumplings, and siopao. Now I'm gonna ask our representatives or guests from China. We have Mr. Alan, Miss Kathy, Mr. Cliff, and Miss Jane. Now all you have to do is to just raise your hand. So which of you have been to the Philippines?
Two.
Oh, just two. All right. It's all right. So for those who haven't been to the Philippines, I suggest that Sir Sean, you tour them around in the Philippines because this is such a nice and beautiful country. Now, if you haven't been to the Philippines, may I just ask Miss Jane, what word that describes the Philippines?
虽然我没有去过，
I haven't been to Philippines, but I feel the passion from Philippines. Passion. Thank you.
I like that. Yes, indeed, Philippines is such a passionate country. Thank you for that, Miss Jane. Now I have to ask Mr. Cliff. Have you ever been to the Philippines, Sir Cliff?
非常可惜，我也没有去过。
It's a pity that I've been to Philippines, but I really want to go there. It is one of my destination, and Philippines is a beautiful country. So all of those cities enjoys a very great view. So I want to be there.
Looking forward to meeting you here in the Philippines soon, Sir Cliff. And then now I just want to ask Sir Sean, since you've been here in the Philippines, what is your favorite Filipino food?
There is sorry, I forgot its name. It's a seasoning pork. Seasoning pork, adobo.
So that's a nice choice. It's a good Filipino dish. Thank you so much for that, Sir Sean. I think we have already broken the ice. We have known each other better than what we have introduced ourselves at first. But of course, to reiterate, I also love Chinese food. And if there's a chance to be able to eat your cuisine, I'd gladly take that chance. Now, of course, here in the Philippines, we have Manila, the capital of the Philippines. There are also many Chinese restaurants here. Now, the Philippines has a total population of 109.6 million, almost 110 million. And the Metro Manila has an estimated population of 14.4 million as of 2022. Now, just to give a glimpse about the preference of Filipinos for vape taste, let us all watch this.
Hi guys, this is Giancarlo. So today we'll be visiting different vape shops and we're going to talk to the owners and talk about the consumer related experiences. So guys, come on, let's check it out.
Joseph. Hi, I'm Jared. And welcome to Retro Clouds Vape Shop.
Hi sir, we set up Retro Clouds Vape Shop way back 2018 and we have 2 branches here in Taguig and the other one is in West Repo, Makati.
In a normal day basis, we sell about 20 juice lines, 20 pieces of juice lines, 10 pieces of hardwares, and the best selling is the pods and the disposable pods. So it's about 70% of our sale. So let's say 30 to 50 pieces of pods in a day.
When it comes to the purchasing process, the consumers tend to inquire online because we post our products online, then they can see our products online, so they message us directly to our Facebook page. And after we explain it to them furthermore regarding the products, they go direct to our shop.
So when vape started, they released this flavor cheesecake. So vapers have been loving that ever since. But since disposable pods came in and other pod products came in, they released this fruity minty types of flavor. So people tend to lean on that more. Vapers hate, let's see. The toothpaste one, people don't really like that. So yeah.
If we will be given the chance to add a special feature or another feature to a vape device, especially when it comes to disposable pods, I think it would be a power bank feature because it will, after exhausting the flavor of disposable pod, consumers will continue to use the device itself. It will help in terms of the waste management of the dispo pods, and yeah, it will be a really great edge for a product. Regarding that, I think if anyone who will watch this video is aware or familiar with those candies when we were kids that the candies has no label and it will surprise your tongue with the crazy flavor. I think the old sock flavor, just to add extra fun in using vape.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, a video that tackled about consumer reception when it comes to vaping and of course the vaping industry here in the Philippines. And I am sure that a lot of you here know that there are lots of benefits consumers can get from vaping. Vaping can help some people quit smoking, and it is usually cheaper than smoking. Vaping is much less also harmful than smoking. And one of the biggest advantages of vaping is that your house or your car won't smell of any smoke. Also, vaping gives you full control over nicotine intake. You can also control the amount of vapor. There's also endless flavors option that can give you instant satisfaction. And the best thing about everything, it is widely available. And today, here in ValiTalk, we will give you a clearer understanding about the Philippine market when it comes to vaping and vape products. We have distinguished guest speakers from the vaping industry in the Philippines who will impart their knowledge and give you vital information about their respective areas when it comes to the vaping industry in the Philippines. Now, to move on, I will introduce our speakers for today's Valley Talk. We have our first speaker, Attorney Kim David Obejas. Our second speaker for this afternoon, we have Mr. Richie Dequina. Our third speaker, we have Mr. Archie Malate. We also have our fourth speaker with us, Mr. Raf Davis. And our last but not the least, our fifth speaker for this afternoon, we have John Joseph Navarro. Later on, we'll introduce more of you about our speaker for this afternoon. And later, right after all of the discussions, there will be an exclusive question and answer segment for everyone. So that if you have questions, our speakers will be ready to answer them right away. Now we officially open the Global Vaping Market Hybrid Panel Discussion. Let me first introduce our first speaker for today. He spent almost 8 years in the legal profession, having been admitted to the Integrated Bar of the Philippines year 2015. He was involved in fighting for the rights of seafarers, particularly on accident, death, and disability claims against insurance companies and manning agencies during his first year as a lawyer. He has headed the legal departments as in-house counsel to corporations engaged in the business of construction, mining, land acquisition, and real estate development. He has been also involved in the crafting of ordinances pertaining to the regulation of tobacco use and smoking in the city. To enlighten us about the vape laws in the Philippines and legalities of using vape, including forecasts, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause please for Attorney Kim David Abejas.
Thank you, Joy, and good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon as well, Attorney Kim. Thank you for your time. Now, let's just get straight to the point, Attorney. Can we talk about the hurdles with the current Philippine vape laws? For our dear viewers, of course, can you discuss and share your knowledge about this? And can we ask you, Attorney, is there really hope for the vaping industry here in the Philippines?
Well, Joy, there is a very bright future for the vaping industry in the Philippines. So let me discuss a brief overview of the Philippine legal framework regarding vape laws. It all started with the Tobacco Regulation Act, which was enacted in 2003. This was because the Philippines became a signatory to the WHO FCTC. During President Duterte's time, there has been a number of laws enacted which touch on vapes. He issued EO 26, particularly banning the smoking of cigarettes in public and public enclosed spaces. This law also provided for the provisions of designated smoking areas in the Philippines. In these places, you are allowed to smoke, but it's not allowed to smoke anywhere else. Another thing, during this time, the minimum age of access is 18 years old and above. So, yeah, I think because of these enactments and the President's stand on tobacco regulation, there has been stringent regulation regarding the vape industry.
So you have mentioned about the Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003. So it focuses mainly on cigarettes, right?
Yes, that's
now,
right.
can you briefly discuss the legal status of vaping in the Philippines?
As I've mentioned, the current stand of the Philippines on vaping is it's strictly regulated. There are a number of laws that provides for the requirements needed for businesses which are geared toward the vape industry. They have to comply with those laws in order for them to do business in the Philippines.
I'd just like to clarify this. So since you have mentioned that we have strict regulations when it comes to smoking here in the Philippines, is vaping banned in the Philippines?
Okay, Joy, to make it clear, vaping is not banned in the Philippines. It is allowed, but it is strictly regulated.
Strictly regulated. Now, attorney, from a legal perspective, what do you need to do with investing in the vape business here in the Philippines? Can you enlighten us with the legal processes that we have to go through?
Well, Joy, if a business wants to enter the Philippine market, they have the option to come here to the Philippines and start their own corporation here in the Philippines, to incorporate, to get the necessary licenses from the different regulatory offices in the government, or they have the option to partner up or to hire Philippine corporations who have the necessary permits already and who are very keen on getting these permits for their clients as well.
Of course, alongside with all these permits, there should also be a law that should be supporting the vaping industry here in the Philippines. And we all know that we have a vaping bill, but it has not been yet enacted into law because it has not been yet signed by Mr. Duterte, our current president. And we have an ongoing election which will happen on May 9, wherein we will elect a president, a new president here in the Philippines. Can you share with us your insights as well as your positive forecast in case our president signs the vaping bill, or in case our president, our vaping bill here in the Philippines lapses?
Okay, Joy, these are very exciting times for the vaping industry in the Philippines. One is we have an upcoming elections this May. There will be a new president by July in the Philippines. Currently, Congress, both houses of Congress has passed their own versions of the law. We have a version coming from the House of Representatives and another version from the Senate. These House bills highlight new provisions which will definitely have a positive impact in the vaping industry. For comparison, Joy, right now, currently, the laws that are being enforced provide a minimum age of access of 21 years old and above. These new bills that are awaiting approval from the President provides for lowering of the minimum age of access to 18. It also explicitly allows the selling of vape products, HTPs, and ends on the internet, online, e-commerce. It also provides for less strict regulation when it comes to licensing for the manufacture, importation, distribution, selling, and online selling. With this bill, it takes away the jurisdiction of the FDA and it vests upon the Department of Trade and Industry. So vapes will be considered as consumer items instead of the strictly regulated items related to health.
Since you have mentioned this, it seems like everything has been set into motion and we're gearing towards a positive future when it comes to our vaping industry. So thank you so much for that, attorney. If there will be questions, we'll be moving forward to our question and answer later on. But now we are moving forward to our second speaker. Our next speaker is a former top executive of leading consumer electronics companies in the Philippines, to now an entrepreneur and CEO of a multimedia and products company. He has established himself as a go-to brand builder for startups. His line of expertise spans brand building, sales, marketing, business development, partnership networking, and general organizational management. Most recently, he dipped his toes into building the fastest growing vape brands in the Philippines. Now he handles 2 vape brands in the Philippines, including 10 dealers handling the Philippine archipelago, 30 sub-dealers handling the different provinces, and 600 plus retail outlets in the Philippines. That's a huge number. To share with us his insights in the Philippine market and the current state of the vape industry in the Philippines, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause please for Mr. Richie Daquina.
Thank you very much, Joy, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, China, from the Philippines.
Good afternoon as well, Sir Richie. Wow, your profile is so impressive. I got so interested in you, sir. So I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions this afternoon. Now, from a very serious topic and discussion of vape laws in the country, can we talk about the Philippine vape landscape? Basing it on the data from the Philippine government, can you share with us some vital information about the vaping industry here in the Philippines?
Of course. Thank you very much for the question, Joy. But to start off, The Philippines is, I don't know, maybe the 11th or 12th largest in terms of population globally. So, as you mentioned earlier, we have more than 110 million in total population. And according to recent surveys by the government, conducted by the government, there is approximately 10 to 15 million e-cigarette users. We're talking about e-cigarette users because if we talk about generally the smoking industry, it's more than that. That is approximately 10% of the 10 to 15% of the entire population, of course, of the Philippines. We are expecting a 3.18% growth in the next 5 years. That's according to the recent survey conducted. So it's a wide open space for the entire business of vaping in the Philippines.
So you've mentioned it's around 10 to 15% of the general public that are now into e-cigarettes or vaping. Still, in terms of vaping industry here in the country, can we compare the data we do have here in the Philippines to the data of the second largest country in the world, which is Canada, when it comes to the prevalence of vaping and the potential of the Philippines when it comes to selling vape?
Of course, of course. Canada, yeah, they're the second largest country in the world, but their population is like 1/4 of the population of the Philippines. They have a total of 35 million in total population. The registered users of vape is approximately 5 million, so that's approximately 7% of the entire population. I forgot to mention earlier the total gross sales in the Philippines for the vape industry in 2021 was at 227 million, if I'm not mistaken. That's in dollars. While if you compare that with the 5 million smokers, e-cigarette users in Canada, the gross sales for the entire year in 2021 was 1.2 billion. So they're expected also to grow by 4.5% annually for the next 5 years. So I believe that the Philippines is still at its infancy stage in terms of the vaping industry, and that the future is very wide open for all the different companies, brands, to come in the Philippines and basically market their products.
So, of course, we have compared the numbers of the Philippines to Canada, and you have mentioned the wide difference when it comes to its consumers, and of course, the annual income. But of course, we're looking forward to a greater, future for vaping industry. Now, the million-dollar question is this, Sir Richie. Why should vaping companies invest in the Philippines? And why is it more fun in the Philippines?
Being one of the tiger economies in Asia, I believe the Philippines is very ripe in terms of its business potential. With its massive population, the Philippines has a lot to offer in terms of product consumption, not only with the vape industry, but with other industries as well. Recent data of top global convenience store outlets, which is one of the companies we're operating also here in the Philippines, like 7-Eleven, Ministop, etc., revealed that vices, unfortunately, like cigarettes and liquors, have consistently top sales. So this will give you an idea on how the consumer here in the Philippines prioritize their spending. So I believe that the vaping industry is really would really be very much interested to enter the country and open up their business. Joy.
Oh, that's good to know. At least even if we're more leaning into vaping and drinking, at least that we have a growing industry when it comes to market trade here in the Philippines. Now, just to have a further knowledge about the Philippines and its potential to becoming one of the top countries to invest in terms of vaping, Sir Richie, can you share something about the process of entering the Philippine market?
Very interesting question. If you want to say a particular brand wants to enter the Philippine market, there are actually a lot of ways to enter the market, but legally, which is the safest and the long-term scenarios for big companies, of course, is to get the necessary permits. What are those necessary permits? You have to register under the FDA, the license to operate, etc., and the different permits, government permits that are necessary to operate your company here in the Philippines. The second one is, I believe, very important as well. You have to have a credible partner here in the Philippines who can operate your business and distribute your products here in the country. So basically, those are the two things, Joy, that I think are the most important things to know.
So just to reiterate, first is you need to get the necessary permits to be able to enter the Philippine market, and second is to find the credible partner for that. Now, Sir Richie, you are the CEO of both Red Entertainment and Red Distribution Incorporated. Can you share with us your experience as a vape distributor?
Thank you very much again for the question, Joy. Just so not to confuse the people, Red Entertainment is basically our service company. So it's an advertising agency, etc., while Red Distribution is our products company. Red Distribution basically is the one handling all the product-based services we have. Okay? So experiences, I don't know. It's very exciting, actually. I'm very new in terms of distributing vapes in the country, but I've been a vape user all my life after I stopped smoking cigarettes. But basically, running a vape distribution company here in the Philippines is the same thing as running, say, our lifestyle and products company. So it is, you follow the same process. But the most exciting thing about the vape industry in the Philippines, it's so fast moving. Even me, I'm very surprised about the growth of our brands here in the Philippines. Every single month we see 100 to 100% jump in our sales. So I'm very happy. That is basically my experience in terms of the industry, with the vaping industry, Joy.
So let me just go back to my first question, or the first one that you have explained earlier, that you mentioned for you to be able to penetrate the Philippine market, you need to be able to secure permits and to find a credible partner. And since you have mentioned that you have a company which focuses on advertising and product distribution, do you think that you can be a perfect partner for someone who wants to enter the market?
That is an embarrassing question, Joy, because I will answer yes.
So,
I'm surprised about the question, but definitely, because we have the experience to organize the distribution area, because previously I've handled top global companies here in the Philippines with over 3,000 distribution nationwide. So, of course, I would say yes.
I'm really sorry to put you on the spot. I just felt the need to ask you that question because that is so interesting. Now, Sir Richie, for our viewers, I'm sure in their heads, they're also dying to ask this question. Based on your vast experience in terms of distributing vape here in our country, how do you stand out from a crowded field?
Okay, that's again a very interesting question, Joy. Thank you very much. Well, first, I believe that the most important thing is to find the product, the perfect product you would carry. Of course, quality is still king in terms of well, in any industry. The second one is creative marketing or advertising, I would have to say. Because like in the case of the vaping industry here in the Philippines, I can see maybe hundreds of players already in the market. And I was late in the market. So I have to be extra creative in terms of how I would relay my message to my consumers. Okay? On how to make the consumers shift from using another brand to my brand. So basically, those are some of the most important things for us to stand out in the market, in the field.
Yes, so I'd like to reiterate what you have said. Quality is king, and of course, the advertising and the branding of the product. So thank you very much for that, Sir Richie Dikina. No doubt, the knowledge you've shared with your audience and with our audience helped them to be enlightened about the current situation of the vaping industry in the country. So thank you so much for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to remind everybody that we still have 3 more guest speakers for today's event. So if you have questions, later on we'll have a question and answer portion. Next, you will also hear different speakers will give us a background about the retailer side of vaping. Next will be about the influencer side of vaping. And lastly will be about the local reseller side of vaping. So please stay with us and please keep on taking down notes and questions because later, after all the discussions, there will be an exclusive, again, question and answer segment for everyone. So be ready with your questions and of course, our speakers to be ready to answer them as well. Now, let me introduce our next guest speaker for today. He comes from the music industry of the Philippines. He is a rap artist, a songwriter, and a music producer. He is also an avid vape fan and a businessman. After more than a decade of working with established and upcoming artists, he was able to build his network and created a solid fan base. He currently has 9,700 followers on Facebook and 2,000 followers on Instagram. His celebrity status aided him to acquire a vast network of vape resellers in the country. He is currently working on a new album and project with his rap group Agaron and is also one of the dealers of the #1 disposable vape in the country, Kokin. He is a regional dealer handling sales and distribution to retail stores of 2 vape brands, and he has a distribution network of more than 200 retail outlets in Metro Manila and Central Visayas. To enlighten us about the local resellers' voice, we have here with us Mr. Archie Malate.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Joy, and thank you for that great introduction.
Good afternoon, Sir Archie. Wow, your credentials speak so much about you. Earlier, we've heard about the process of retailing and selling vape products. Now, can we ask you about the process of the vape dealers and resellers here in the Philippines?
Absolutely. Well, as a dealer myself, my job is to secure certain territories and develop a network of local resellers. Also, as part of the arrangement with my distributor, I have to make sure that I'll be able to acquire 150 retailers in every city to keep my exclusive dealership. Now, not to mention the minimum order quantity required, which is usually around 10,000 units per month. As long as I get to secure those numbers, all I have to do is figure out how the products will reach the target market and consumers. As we speak, there are around 4,000 vape shops in Metro Manila alone, and approximately around 10,000 to 12,000 vape shops all over the country. So just imagine how big our network would be 1 year from now. And just to say, the world is a big playground for all of us here.
Having said all those data that you have mentioned, it seems like your credentials, your experience really spoke about how you handle the vaping industry here. And as a reseller and distributor, and of course, a dealer, how about the process? Of course, we would like to know about that. The process of acquiring network in terms of vape shops. Can you enlighten us about deciding on the territories on where to sell?
Yes, I'm glad to answer that question. Now, it is really not that hard to decide on where to sell vape products in particular, as vice is prevalent everywhere. Of course, I have to start somewhere else, and that is the region where I came from. In this particular case, it's the Region 8 or later region, and I also included Metro Manila. Since I have friends and relatives in that particular area, I was able to quickly establish and build a network of local resellers and retailers by providing them with enticing margins and support through marketing and promotional efforts. As to the other territories, I usually talk to known and established business owners, whatever industry they are in, either through online by sending business decks and proposals, or offline by sending someone to a particular area and look for potential vape shops tattoo shops, lifestyle stores, or even convenience stores that might be interested in carrying my products.
So based from what you said, it is not really hard to find a location or a shop that is willing to sell any vape products because you have already experienced when it comes to networking, when it comes to letting them know about the brand that you are promoting. So since we are talking about promotion this time, I think we need to ask someone from an influencer side. Now we're moving on to our next speaker. Thank you so much for that, Sir Archie. I think that
Appreciate it.
questions that we have for you will be answered on later. So our next speaker, our next guest is a social media influencer. We also have with us a rap star, a singer, producer, influencer, vlogger, actor, model, and businessman. Wow, this guy is a lot of things. He currently has 200 million total combined YouTube video views and 500,000 followers in different social media platforms. He is definitely one of the hottest and most sought after artists in the Philippine music industry right now. To enlighten us with content creation as well as maintaining an effective social media engagement and to share with us the side of the influencers online, let us all welcome Joshua Rafael Davis, aka Raf Davis. Hi Raf, welcome to ValiTalk.
Thank you, Joy. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here.
Rap, I've read everything that you do. It seems like you are everything at once. You are a rap star, a singer, a producer, a vlogger, actor, model, businessman, and of course, an influencer all in one. But my first question for our audience, as an online influencer, how do you usually plan and strategize your content creation?
First, I studied the trends of and with my audience. Definitely, my music is inspired by the Western culture. Whatever comes to my mind, I execute it. I believe in the power of right timing for my releases, so I work on my materials and then I just pick and choose which to release based on what my audience currently likes.
So, Raf, I've seen your IG feed, your Instagram feed, as well as your Facebook page. And I'm wondering, in terms of promoting brands and products, since a lot of people have been following you, so you have a say, you are almost the trend. How do you usually endorse them? And how do you choose on which channel or social media platform can you usually or do you usually promote a certain product?
We all know in the digital age, your social media following is considered as prime real estate. It's a captured audience or market. IG and Facebook are good for picture or graphic posting. YouTube is definitely where I hone and curate my art and also keep my fans updated via my vlogs. But TikTok's algorithm gets the wider audience because TikTok is really famous right now. Yeah.
So you've mentioned about Instagram and Facebook being a good platform for graphics like images, and then YouTube is where you hone your craft since you are also a producer. And you mentioned about TikTok being like the source of information of everyone now, and it's a hot thing in the Philippines. So yeah, for everyone who is watching, I think Sir Raf is just saying that if you are to promote your product, take it from an experienced influencer with almost 500,000 followers on every social media platform to post your products, of course, on Facebook and Instagram, and to create videos, interactive videos on TikTok. So thank you so much for that, Sir Raf. Now, last for today's Valley Talk, our next speaker is a business owner in various industries, including food, lifestyle, and vaping. He started and opened a vaping shop last 2018, and currently he is operating branches in the fast-moving cities of Metro Manila. He also has his own vape juice line called Nectars, which is already being well known in the Philippine vaping market. To give us a background about the retailer side of the vaping industry, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause please for Mr. John Joseph Navarro.
Thank you, Ms. Bulicona, and to our audience, good afternoon.
Hi, Sir John Joseph Navarro. So I only have one question for you this afternoon. And I think it's very easy for you to talk about this since you have been in the industry since 2016.
2018.
2018, all right. So, Mr. Navarro, can you share with us what made you decide to open up a vape shop and how is it doing in the Philippine market?
Okay, so I'm a vape enthusiast before I planned on starting a vape business. And the fact that it offers a lot of much less harmful benefits compared to the traditional heated tobacco. It also offers a lot of alternatives when it comes to the flavorings, vape devices, and nicotine content. So maybe that's why a lot of people in the market, especially me, are starting to be encouraged to switch into these vape products. So if we're talking about the potential of this product in the market, it's really high.
So you've mentioned, since you've been in the industry for 4 years already, starting in 2018, you've mentioned about how the consumers are taking the vaping here in the Philippines so well that were you able to build sales that you have never imagined when it comes to your vaping shop?
Okay, so when operating a vape shop, the sales usually went up from 20 to 30% monthly, especially when new products enter the market. Like for example, the launching of disposable pads. It really get the higher percentage of sales in our shop because it's handy and it's easy to use. It's handy and it offers a lot of flavors. Usually, a single disposable pad will have at least 17 flavors. So yeah, because it offers a lot, it's handy, it's dominating the market.
I'd like to use the term dominating, So it's really making us see the marketability of vaping here in the Philippines. When it comes to entering the Philippine market, vaping has a bright future for everyone, especially for distributors and especially for those who are planning to put up a business here in the Philippines. Now, thank you so much for that, Sir John. After hearing all our speakers who share their knowledge to us, at this time, of course, we will open the floor for the question and answer segment. I encourage everybody to send in your questions to our speakers. But before that, let us all watch this.
Hi, I'm Serdy and welcome to Pack and Play Vape Shop. This store, nag-start siya sa Iswembo, kabilang barangay lang, was around July 2020. Kasagsagan ng pandemic namin pinisa. Depende po yan eh. Sa juice, siguro on a good day, around 10 to 20 bottles. On a bad day, 5 bottles. Sa devices naman, pagdating sa pads, on a good day again, 10 pads or 10 devices on a minimum basis lang. And sa bad day, 3 to 1 to 3 devices. Actually, in-store sila bumibili kasi ang kadalasan lang naman na purpose ng online pages natin is one is kapag ayaw nilang lumabas, so pwede natin i-deliver sa kanila. Pero here in our store, ang kadalasan is mag-a-ask sila online kung meron kaming availability and then pupunta sila sa physical store para kunin yung available na specific product. Hate the most, ang pinaka gusto nila is sa pastry, I think ang pinaka gusto nila is strawberry, and then sa menthol, ang pinaka gusto nila is ice cola, watermelon, and then mango, grapes. Ang pinakaayaw naman nila is pinya, something like that, yun ba? Halos lahat naman na-try na nila. Pero ang akin kasi, more focus na lang sa improvements pa ng anti-leakage. Kasi madami kaming customers na pumupunta dito na hindi na nila nagagamit yung devices nila dahil nga sa leakage. So, isa nung magandang example yung pads. Pag tinanggal nila yung cartridge nila ng ganyan, nakikita na lang nila na may basa-basa dun sa ilalim. And yun po yung nagiging cost ng mga hindi na nila nagagamit devices nila, which is magagastusan sila para mag-purchase pa ng panibago. Sa akin is yung mga ulam flavor, such as pizza, sinigang, adobo. Kasi halos lahat naman ang tagal na ng vaping industry actually. Pero dati kasi may mga ginagawan juice tulad ng pizza flavored, sinigang flavored, adobo flavored.
Thank you so much for that video. Now we have witnessed the current trend of the vaping industry in the Philippine market. Now, to our question and answers, just a reminder, in order to maintain order, please refrain from asking sensitive or inappropriate questions involving unlawful or illicit matters. We will welcome any question as long as it is in line with the purpose of this event, to be beneficial to your products, brands, and business. So thank you so much for that and for understanding. Now we're going to move on to our first question. So just now, you learned the most popular taste in the Philippines from the video. They mentioned about sinigang, adobo, the usual flavors like menthol and all that. We have channel vendors, distributors, and operators and users of our vape stores. So do you think that watching this video is the same as the market that you know yourself? So Richie, I'm going to ask you first about that. Is the market that you know same with the market that is being talked about in the video?
Well, definitely, Joy, because those are the retailers who purchase from my dealers, Archie, who gets the supply from me as the distributor. So basically, there are my eyes in terms of the market, the consumers.
All right, since you have mentioned that you totally agree with that, I'm gonna have to pass it on to Sir Archie. Sir Archie, since you are the one who has been, contacting resellers to be able to distribute the products that you've been getting from a distributor, let's say from Sir Archie, Sir Richie, do you think that what is mentioned in the video the same as the market that you know here in the Philippines?
Well, definitely. Pretty much the same market here in the Philippines. Well, the market in the Philippines is a very big playground for all of us here. So there are a lot of ways to work around that market. And vape is a thing at the moment, and we just have to make the most out of it.
So we have heard, opinions and statements from the distributor and dealers itself. Now we're going to move on to the retailer, since you are the one who is having an on-ground experience when it comes to selling vape products. So do you think that the market that is being mentioned in the video earlier is the same market that you have been working with for the past 4 years?
Yes, definitely. Since those who are shown in the videos are usually nearby vape shops to mine, I guess we share the same market. And by saying that means we supply the same demand. So yes, I agree.
Oh, so we can really see the marketability, the accessibility of vaping here in the Philippines when it comes to its consumers. Now, speaking of consumers, we're going to move on to our influencer, who has also mentioned earlier that is a consumer of vaping industry. So do you agree that some flavors, like for example, what is mentioned on the video, sinigang, adobo, or the usual like the methylated flavors, is something that you would also like to try?
Actually, to be honest, I don't really like sinigang and adobo might be because I haven't tried those, but mint, I'm not really a fan of mint. But if I have no choice, if that's the only flavor available, then I might try it. But my favorite is fruity. And before, when I was using the variable, I used to vape the pastry flavors.
pastry flavor. So from an influencer perspective, you do agree that we have that vast market when it comes to vaping here in the Philippines. Yeah. So now I'm gonna ask attorney naman. Since we have mentioned about the marketability, the current trend of the vaping industry here in the Philippines, now I have to ask you, with regard to the strict prohibition of the things that you have mentioned earlier when it comes to the law, do you think that what is mentioned in the video, vaping being accessible to its consumers, and of course, the in demand or the demand of vape into to everyone when it comes to dealers and distributors. Do you think that our law has affected that supply and demand?
Definitely, our laws will affect the supply and demand for vape products, especially in relation to the flavors mentioned. I think the current state of the Philippine vape laws, it prohibits flavorings and it limits the flavors to tobacco and menthol only. But it seems that it can't be helped because it is essential in the vape industry to provide a lot of flavors for its consumers. And I think our legislators have seen this and are now pushing for the relaxation of the prohibition on flavors.
Thank you so much for that. Now we have heard the answers of our Filipino or representatives from the Philippines. Now I have to throw back the question to our representatives from China. Do our Chinese friends show the same market in the Philippines as you think of in this video? Let's start with Mr. Alan from Airscream. Again, I'm gonna ask Sir Alan.
Actually, can you hear me?
Cool.
So I'll just repeat the question for our representatives from China. Do you think that our Chinese friends show the same market in the Philippines as you think of in the video that was shown earlier?
可以听到. Okay, we got it. Let me walk you through from Alan. So we'll be the next one. Moving to the next one. Okay. Got this. Alan. Cool.
对。
For the Chinese market, I think that those e-cigarettes actually were purchased by the physical stores. And however, there are some limitations on the product display. So I actually am not very familiar with the market in Philippines. I think that is how Chinese market works. I think you may let us know more about the distribution channel in Philippines. And for example, which is the most effective or most popular buying channels for the consumers, online and offline?
All right, so here in the Philippines, we have distributors like Sir Richie here. He has been distributing 2 vape brands here in the Philippines. We have dealers, of course, and retailers. And as mentioned in the video, consumers are really taking the vaping industry here in the Philippines very well. And as a support for this statement, Sir John Joseph here has been in the business or industry since 2018. So the vaping industry has been really doing well in our country. So our question, I'll ask this to Miss Cathy from Inokin. Do you think that the vaping industry is also doing well in China compared to the Philippines as mentioned in the video?
I think in the video, we saw the Philippine market is very big and it have a very big potentials. In China, it's a little bit different. Firstly, for the policy, in the video, the shop owner says most consumer, they will buy from the local store or they will buy from online. But in China, it's different. We cannot buy from online. We can only buy from the shops. So this is first to say it's different. And another big difference is for the product. In the video, you can see on the product, many shops sell the e-juice and sell the pot system. They can refill them. But in China, most popular thing is kind of closed pot system. So it's pre-filled, like the Relax, like the Jewel. Not too many customers here to buy the refillable one because the e-juice is a little bit hard to buy here. So there are kind of big difference for China market and Philippine market.
Thank you so much for that, Miss Kathy, and for making it clear that we have a really vast difference when it comes to marketability of vaping. As in China, we are only allowed to sell vapes in stores, while here in the Philippines, we can sell it online and offline. So that makes a huge difference when it comes to the industry that we are into. Now I'm gonna ask Miss Jane from Vupu. Since Miss Kathy mentioned about the restrictions in China, does it somehow challenge your company when it comes to marketing your vape products?
In Chinese market, if we want to promote our brands to the consumers, and we face difficulties because Chinese market is different from the Philippine ones. That's because of the authority for the monitoring and supervision. And as the panelist mentioned, that in Philippines, that the e-cigarette is under the authority of the FDA. However, that in China, the e-cigarette industry is under the supervision of the Tobacco Commission in China. So we are facing different kind of challenges. For example, first of all, we are not allowed to promote e-cigarette advertising online. And in terms of the shopping, that in China, we are not allowed to sell e-cigarettes online. So we have to sell our products and brands that in physical stores. And therefore, there will be some difficulties for the promotion. And another difference of Chinese market and Philippine market, that is for the Chinese e-cigarette products that need to register our products to the Tobacco Commission of Chinese government, and it takes time. So we need to prepare for the launch of the new product for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Miss Jane from Vupu. It's a really, it's a really well comprehended statement. So I'd like to just ask Mr. Cliff from UL, since you have mentioned that we have different regulatory commissions when it comes to registering our businesses or products. In China, you only have Tobacco Commission, while in the Philippines, we have the DTI, Department of Trade and Industry, and also the DFA, which approves the products. How do you work around when it comes to still reaching your target market in China?
First of all, and I think the panelists have mentioned that recently that there will be a new law that get established that targeted e-cigarette. So I believe it's a good news. That means that the e-cigarette industry has great potentials, and therefore the government or the state would like to formulate the related laws. But if we want to enter into the market, we need to ensure the compliance first. Just like the speaker that mentioned from the Philippine side, then we need to get license first. And another one, that is we have to sell our products in the physical stores. Then we have to get license from the authority. And then we can start the selling. So for example, like our company, that we have the license of research and development, manufacturing. So we need to get the license that issued by the government first so that we can start our business. However, in terms of the promotion and advertisement, we face all kinds of difficulties in China because we are not allowed to promote and advertise online. And so we have a strict requirements in terms of the promotion, even fiscally. So we want to know from our Philippine friends that what kind of the promotion activities that will be organized by the Philippine market players, and which kind of activities will be the most effective? And for example, that you will organize some of the promotion activities that in physical stores. So which is the best way to interact with the consumers? So that's my questions for my Philippine friends.
Thank you so much for that, Sir Cliff from UWell. For your question, I'll be directing it to Sir Richie. So, Sir Cliff from UWell is asking, how can we promote here in the Philippines? What are the marketing strategies that we can introduce or we can enact to? Or what it can be the branding of the vaping here industry here in the Philippines so that we can market it to our target consumers well and properly?
Okay. Yeah, hi. Hi again, guys. Thank you very much again for the question, Chinese colleagues. Well, to answer your question, perfect way to market, well, we're very lucky here in the Philippines that the laws are not that strict yet. There are news that there will be laws that will be enacted this coming May, but until such time, we're not yet worried. We're lucky that we're not covered if ever they strictly implement that rule, that law, the vape bill. Well, we will be forced, like China, not to be able to promote. But currently, there's a big open sea to market vape here in the Philippines right now. Maybe one good thing is we own a talent agency as well here in the Philippines. So one of our talents, of course, and friends is our influencers here, KOLs. So we could easily utilize them to not necessarily promote it indiscriminately because it's not allowed by the law, but rather make our influencers use it, hold the vape products, and that's already indirect advertisements for our brand. So right now, the best way to promote here is through KOLs or influencers, we call it here in the Philippines. Okay, Joy, I believe that I answered your question.
Thank you so much for that. Sir Cliff, do you have any follow-up questions with regard to what you have asked earlier? Sir Sean, you have another question. Yeah.
Richie, because I just mentioned that usually you would utilize influencers to sell more e-cigarettes. Can you be specific?
Okay. Well, initially, of course, we do the basic branding. That's what I told our partners from China. I don't want to be like just the others, like a trading company, but rather look at the long-term business plan for the brand here in the Philippines. So that's one of the things I've done. Second, if we're talking about how to utilize our KOLs or influencers to sell the vape products, that's another thing, right? They have like, how do you call that, Archie? Live streaming things. They do interaction. They have like thousands of followers that are watching them online, and they sell and they market. Like what maybe Raf could add more to this?
What I do is I just post a video or a picture holding it. Sometimes even when I'm singing in my day and my stories on Instagram or even in TikTok videos, I'm just holding it or hanging on my chest with the, what do you call that, with the lanyard, you know, and it's really effective because sometimes even if I just post not just with vape, if I post like a cap or shirt or shoes or whatever, like they just always interact with me because I've built a fan base who's really interested in my lifestyle. That's it.
Thank you so much, Sir Richie and Sir Raf. Sir Sean, do you have any follow-up questions?
Sorry, one more question, because I'm very interested in influencer marketing. So for influencer marketing, I don't know who's from your side would be suitable to answer this question. And my question is that if we are interested to do the marketing from influencers, what would be the basic investment and what would be the conversion rate? I mean, how much we are spend on influencers usually, and how much we can get back, if that is something that you can tell us.
Sir Sean, I'll just try to reiterate your question. You're asking how much will be here if you're going to invest in the Philippines. Is that correct?
Usually, how much we can spend on an influencer to drive more consumption?
All right. For the influencer, I think the best person to answer that is Sir Raf, since he is also a KOL influencer here in the Philippines. So the question is, how much do we usually spend on influencers when it comes to promoting or marketing a certain product?
It depends on the agreement, because sometimes when they ask me if if I'm only gonna post it in one social media, that's another rate, and then if I'm gonna post it in all of my social media, let's just say Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, that's another rate, and it also depends on my following and others following, because right now I don't have that much. I only have like 500,000. So it's a different rate. You can get like a cheaper ones influencer, like if they got like 100,000 followers. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Raf. And I think Sir Richie has an additional information with regard to influencers and contacting talents for brand marketing.
Yes, Joy, thank you very much. In the case of our Red Models and Talents agency, normally international brands contact us, and as we have two different options to take. One is full endorsement. Full endorsement is basically you pay the artist a certain amount, and you can utilize the persona of that particular person for a number of months or years. Okay. And the other one, most recently, is becoming more popular, is influencers. But the thing here is there's no sustainability in terms of that particular person endorsing your brand. Why? Because another competitor might pay him to get him as a influencer, and then all of your money wasted already. So that's the reason why, in my case, I recommend to my partners to get a full-time endorsers, okay, or a group of influencers, that way that they will maintain for a particular period of time, okay?
Thank you, Sir Richie and Sir Raf. I think to sum it all up, Sir Sean, what you're asking really is about the social engagement of our influencers. So what Sir Richie is trying to imply is that you have options when it comes to getting your promoters. First is to get endorsers or ambassadors, which will be in contract with you for a certain period of time. Or second, you can get an influencer, but the only thing that an influencer can do is to post or cross-post your products in certain social media accounts. So you have those options here in the Philippines, since we have less prohibitions when it comes to law that is governing or that is being enacted upon the vape users in the Philippines. Do you have any more questions, Sir Sean, or anyone from our panel?
Kathy?
I have a question. So, like Richie, Archie, there's a kind of distributor in Philippines. So I know you may receive many messages or emails from China suppliers. You meet a lot of suppliers, maybe hundreds of them. So I just want to ask, what is the best way you think can get in touch with you? Like, what kind of the most convenient way for you to get for the product information? How can the Chinese supplier can get in touch with you?
Thank you. Thank you, Miss Jane from Vupu. Miss Jane is trying to ask how can they get in touch with credible partners here in the Philippines, as what is mentioned earlier, when they are trying to penetrate the Philippine market. And I think the best person to answer that is one of the distributors of vape here in the Philippines, Mr. Richie Dequina.
Hi, Jane. Am I right, Jane, who asked that question?
Cathy.
Sorry, apologies. Hi, Cathy. Well, just send me a flying kiss. That's already okay. No, seriously. To get in touch with us, of course, well, we have published our official email address. And, well, Sean can give it to you. No, kidding aside, yes, if I receive a lot of Facebook requests for friends, WhatsApp, etc. But of course, I have experience in terms of the electronics industry for 20 years in China. So I know how to choose the right partner. So likewise, in this particular industry, the vaping industry, I try to, of course, welcome everyone, but at the same time, study the long-term plan of that particular company before we commit, if ever they offer us a partnership of whatever. So was I able to answer your question?
I think so. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Richie, and thank you, Miss Cathy. Does anyone have any follow-up questions from the panelists from our Chinese friends?
Question, Alan.
Miss
一般来说，就像刚
Mr. Alan.
Generally speaking, I would like to ask a follow-up question. So, a lot of supplier will contact you. So, from which perspective you will choose who will be a partner, or which attribute will attract you the most, especially will come to the choices.
Thank you, Sir Alan. So the question is that, do you have any partnership requirements when it comes to acquiring the business from China to promoting it here in the Philippines? And if so, what are those attributes?
They have to be beautiful and handsome. I'm kidding again. I'm kidding. Well, of course, the company has to be coming from a reputable background, and it's not as simple to choose a partner. Of course, we have to get along with each other. The communication lines between the two parties has to be seamless. We have to be friends, I would suppose. Yes, I feel comfortable dealing with partners who I can talk to openly. So, not to mention, of course, the research and development part of that particular partner should be really long-term, because I'm not used to trading brands, but rather building brands. So that is the way I choose my partners here in the Philippines, at least.
Thank you, Sir Richie. So we hope that Sir Richie was able to answer your question, Sir Alan. Do we have another question coming from your end? Okay. Miss Jane?
My question is closely related to product. Because just now, the panelist has mentioned in Philippine market, we wish there are perfect markets for products. Of course, they are important cornerstone. And just now we heard about the selection of the taste, such as strawberry, watermelon, grapes. They are preferred taste, but there is like the pineapple is a flavor you don't like. So that's why I'm quite curious why for taste selection, they are all fruits, but you don't really like the pineapple. So this is my question. For the second question is about more specific information for products, SSP. We got different category, such as open pod, closed pod, disposable, etc. But in Philippine markets, what I want to know is which product is like a mainstream that receives more acceptance and preference. And also for the long haul, the art product customers want to try, or they have the longer, better potential. So that's why we'd like to hear more feedback from our panelists in Philippines. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, Miss Jane from VUPU. Now, to answer that question, we have a retailer and who has been in the industry for 4 years and have an on-ground experience when it comes to consumers. So we have here Mr. John Joseph Navarro to answer your question.
Okay, thank you, Miss Jane, for that question, and hello again. So, in terms of flavor selection based on the consumer's demand, I will first explain the flavor-based categories available in the Philippine market. We have the pastry, and in terms of pastry, the best selling is the cheesecake, and most of the market of the pastry flavors are usually male and old school vapors. Those people who use the full mechanical vape mods and the variable vape mods. And when it comes to the fruity mentholated flavor, which is usually available in a disposable device and vape pods, the usual markets are those who are working in a corporate industry, and usually by gender category, I will say female markets.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sir John. Miss Jane from what's her company? Miss Jane from Vupu. Do you have any more question to our panelists?
目前没有，谢谢。No more, thank you.
All right, thank you, Miss Jane from Vupu. Sir Sean, seems like you have another
Me again.
question.
Can each of you name 3 most popular flavors in your country? Is that possible?
Sir Archie, would you like to answer the question? 3 most popular flavors in our country, since you have been dealing with lots of retailers.
Well, yeah, I can definitely answer that question. In my personal experience, the #1 flavor in the country right now is lychee flavor. Everybody loves lychee, from the youngins to the corporate people, even to the artists that we are dealing with at the moment. Lychee is really a thing in the Philippine market at the moment. And for the top 2 and 3, anything that is mixed with watermelon, that's a recipe for success, if I may say, when it comes to flavors. And lastly, pastry flavors are also a great choice. It could be in the top 3.
All right, so those are the top 3 flavors from one of the best dealers of vape here in the Philippines. So we have first, the top 1 is lychee. Second is anything that has watermelon in it. And third is?
Yeah, pastry flavors.
Pastry flavors. The one that is Sir Raf has been mentioning earlier. Top 3 is pastry. Top 2 is anything that has to do with watermelon. And top 1 is lychee. Sir Sean.
Sorry, Archie, can you name 5?
Okay, name 5. So add 2 more, Sir Archie.
Okay, if I have to add 2 more, maybe I'll just have to go with the berries flavors. We have the blueberry and the mixed berries. We just sold out our blueberry last week. We have like 1,500 units that were sold out in just 3 days' time. Now, maybe the 5th one, I can go with, I'll go with a mango flavor. Mango flavor simply because the Filipinos love mangoes. So basically, mango would be on the top 5.
So there you have it, Sir Sean, our top 5. First is the lychee. Second, anything that has to do with watermelon. And
Sorry,
then
again.
third is
Okay.
pastry.
On top of the top 5 flavors, if all manufacturers here, they can develop new flavors, what would be the flavors you think will be popular but not yet exist in the market?
All right, so the question is, what has not yet been released in public or is not yet in the market that you think is a flavor that will be accepted or popular in a Philippine market? Sir John?
Thank you for that question, Sir Chan. If I were to give flavors that will be a trend in the market, I would likely to give you a consistent flavor that has a sustainable demand in the Philippine market. So I think we just need to improve those flavors, or let's say combine other flavors to this specific sustainable demand flavors. For example, in pastry, we have cheesecake. So if we just simply add a cheesecake and a RY4 concentrates, I think it would be a really great product. And when it comes to the fruity mentholated category, let's say mixed berries added with a mentholated concentrates, it will still be a sustainable product in terms of demands.
All right, Sir Richie also, thank you for that, Sir John Joseph. Sir Richie also has an input when it comes to flavor that is not yet in the market.
Well, adding to what Archie said, though, I'm going back. What are the most popular flavors? Archie forgot to mention cola. Okay. He didn't mention cola because we don't have any stocks right now here in the
Sorry,
Philippines.
you just say Coca-Cola.
Yes. Cola. Am I allowed to name brands? But yes, cola.
Just speak it out. Why not?
Coca-Cola flavor. Give it to me.
Sponsor us.
It will be number one.
Okay,
First
cool.
thing when it came to Manila, it sold out immediately. But anyways, another flavor I've been requesting my partners in China is, well, I'm a hard smoker before. I used to smoke 1 pack of cigarettes previously to vaping, but that was years ago. I was requesting, not only me, but some of the people, most of the people I know are requesting Marlboro flavor. So that is one of the, because there are some here in the Philippines, but they don't taste good. So I'm talking to my partners right now in China and asking them to study carefully the development of the Marlboro flavor. Because eventually, if the vape bill is enacted strictly here in the Philippines, flavored vapes will be discontinued. So the only flavors that will be allowed to be marketed here in the Philippines legally, of course, will be the Marlboro, will be the menthol, and maybe a Marlboro Light. So I think that is one of the things that the Chinese manufacturers could really take a look at and take it seriously. Thank you very much, Joy.
Thank you, Sir Richie, and thank you, of course, to your question, Sir Sean. Now, of course, we would also like to ask our friends from China, do you have any concerns? Of course, we can always talk about partnership or dealership here in the Philippines, but do you have any concerns with regard to legalities? Because, of course, everyone has to go with certain permits, certain regulations and laws that you have to be familiar with in order to be able to promote your product here in the market legally. So do you have any questions? We have an attorney here, a lawyer from the Philippines that you can ask. Sir Alan from Airscream.
OK，所以其实我比较对于这种东西，对于这个，因为
Our company that focus on the UK market, so I'm not very familiar with the Chinese market and Philippine market, and because in the United Kingdom that it has a completed and full legislation. So my question that is because of the vaping bill that is going to be effective in the coming May in Philippines. So are there any things that we should pay attention to? For example, is there any new restrictions in terms of the packaging? For example, in New Zealand, that there is authority to mention that we have to put on the kind of the sign that e-cigarette will be harmful as well. So this kind of a slogan needs to be shown on the package. So are there anything that we should pay notice to?
We have attorney Kim David Obejas to answer that question.
Thank you for the question, Alan, and that's a very valid question. Right now, it's already being implemented. All of the current regulation regarding tobacco already incorporates another specific law, which is called the Graphics Health Warning Law. Essentially, what that law provides is that all nicotine products or cigarettes, nicotine products, ends, all of those products are required to explicitly put on their packaging the health warnings provided for in the law. It also specifically provides for the size of the graphic health warning. So right now, it hasn't been fully implemented when it comes to vape products because there has been recent changes in regarding vape products. These are laws which were enacted through a piece of legislation which was specific for taxation purposes only. But in that law, they specifically mentioned now that even vape products will have to include the provisions of the graphic health warnings.
Thank you, Attorney Kim. Sir Alan, was attorney able to answer your question?
Sure. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you to our panelists. So do you have any more question? We have a question from Miss Jane from Wupu.
Again, thank you. 是刚刚提到了关于准入的
That you've mentioned about the market access and that need to get license before entering into the market. And you also mentioned about the flavor controls, for example, the tobacco flavor and also the menthol flavor would be the key flavors. So if the new vaping bill that is come into effective, then how should we deal with those fruit flavors or other flavors? And how should we fit the market's needs? And for those such as the closed box and disposable products, these kind of products also subject to the flavor restriction, right?
All right, thank you, Ms. Jane. Attorney, would you like to answer the question?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Jane, for the question. Currently, there is a prohibition on flavorings, but it is not being fully implemented because, to tell you honestly, when that specific law was enacted, it was already acted upon by a lot of tobacco companies here in the Philippines. They filed cases to stop the implementation of that law, and as of now, it's still undergoing the cases, but they have secured a temporary restraining order for against the implementation of the law. That's why we still have a prevalence of flavors that are available in the market. Regarding the proposed bill that is awaiting approval, that provides for a less restrictive approach to flavorings, which will allow other flavors other than menthol and tobacco flavor. So we are hoping that will be enacted this May or before the president's terms end.
Thank you, Attorney. Ms. Jane, are you all right with the answer? Do you need any follow-ups?
谢谢您的回答。
All right, we have another question from Miss Kathy of Inukin.
Yeah, it's Cassie again. So I have a question.
Yes, I've got a question that
As a shop owner, when we choose a product, because I'm a product manager, director, so I'm always asking questions about product. Please don't bother. So for the product choosing, we will have many different things to think about. For example, you mean the outlook for the product, or the price of the product, or the flavor of the product, or the lifespan of the product. So if we make a list from the most important thing to the second one, third one, which one will be the first one? Like the brand, price, outlook, lifespan, flavors, after service, a lot of things. So what will be the most important thing, and the second one, and third one, and first one?
All right, thank you for that, Miss Kathy of Inukin. So she is asking which would you like to prioritize? The brand, the price, the market, the flavor. So if you are to promote it to your target market, which should be prioritized first, which should be the second, third, and so on?
Okay, so as part of the retailers group, we usually what we usually do in accommodating our consumers is we educate them regarding the basic knowledge of the product itself. So if I were to prioritize a product, I would first I would consider its price, of course, and then the quality comes second, and the third one is the consistency of the supply. Because the usual problem we encounter in the retailer group is that when we're done promoting or endorsing this product, and when we try to restock or to get another stock, the suppliers usually cannot sustain the demand. So there it is. The first one is the price, second is the quality, and third thing is the consistency.
Can I add something to that, Joy?
Sure, Sir Richie, go on.
Definitely from a business to consumer point of view, pricing is very important. But from a distribution point of view, I believe that since Joy was mentioning earlier that there are a sea of other brands in the market right now for the vapes, how do you stand out of the field? That is very important. You could say that you're selling it at 1 RMB, of course. But rather, if you brand it properly, people will notice you. That is the most important thing in terms of product development. You have to be able to stand out in the market. If you don't, look at, I'll give you an example. iPhone. iPhone is selling for what? Thousands of dollars, but people still buy it despite of the price. Why? Because of its branding, because of the brand equity that was built to develop the brand of Apple. So I still believe in that process, and that is what I am instilling in terms of the brands I am handling here in the Philippines.
Thank you for that, Sir Richie. And thank you as well for your question, Miss Kathy from Inakin. And of course, here with us are guest speakers from the Philippines. They also have questions to our representatives from different brands there in China. So we'll start with Mr. Richie. Do you have any question to our panelists in China?
Of course, of course. I'm going to give you a very hard question, my Chinese colleagues. They say, they say that vaping is like 95% safer compared to cigarettes, the traditional cigarettes, right? Is there any way that we can increase that 95%?
This is really hard problems, hard questions.
I think there are many discussions and also research have been done. For example, PHE, Public Health, that in the United Kingdom, they have come up with a report that, yes, the harmfulness of the e-cigarette, yes, is 95% less than the traditional tobacco products, because in UK that the government is active in supporting the selling of e-cigarettes because they have some kind of report to support their endorsement because it's a much more healthier way.
Speaking. In UK market, this kind of very support e-cigarettes. So they made a lot of research. Actually, I saw research before. They do some testing. So for 3 cans, put it in here. So 1 can is for the real cigarettes, another can is for the e-cigarettes. And they will vape like the certain one, like the 1 day, sorry, I remember it should be like 2-piece real cigarettes a day. And for the e-cigarettes, they will have the volume a day. So you vape like 13 days, they're testing, they have the camera to check it. And after 13 days, in this can, they have the vapor goes through and they have many cotton inside. After 13 days, you can find out, you take off all the cans and you take off all the cartons. You can see for the real cigarette one, there are a lot of tar, messy place on the carton. But for the e-cigarette one, the cans inside, all the carton is kind of clear. Don't have tar, don't have any like the bad things inside. So that's a real testing for the UK government. They made it 13 days and use a camera to record it. Maybe I can send that video to you later.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any more questions to our panelists from China?
Yes, I have a question. Now, this is something to do with the marketing, right? So you guys mentioned earlier that you are not allowed to promote vape products online. So you usually rely on the offline market or offline business. Now, are you also allowed to, or are you allowed to sponsor concerts or even organize concerts or events like live shows with performers and then put your product there, either by selling or just placing the brand name for everyone to see?
How about let me answer this question? In China, for tobacco or e-cigarette promotion, they suffer or be subject to a lot of limitation. You can understand in this way, no kind of promotion can be allowed in China, such as offline meeting, conference, events can not be allowed to hold in China, but sales or purchase can be allowed, but in one precondition that you need to get a license and permit, but you cannot make any advertisement for these products. Not only for online, but also for offline.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Cliff. Sir John Joseph here from the retailer side also has questions for our panelists in China.
Okay, hi again. As part of the retailers group, I would like to ask if do you have any method or way of making sure that the consistency of supply and prices in the Philippines will be stable?
Oh, I will answer this question. Just now you mentioned how to guarantee the supply and or delivery in Philippine market is stable. First, let's understand this issue from the supply chain of e-cigarette. Around the world, the majority lie in China. 90% of e-cigarette import and manufacturing come from Shenzhen. From this perspective, you can see the supply chain can fully support the global supply and delivery, whether it's like product R&D, manufacturing, or other section. The other thing I want to mention is for delivery of Philippine markets in current stage. First, we need to know for Philippine markets, if there any demand for a specific product, we need to know the market volume. Just now, you have shared some useful information that last year is $270 million as a market value. Whether it's this year or next year, what is the trend for growth? I think first for China, our industry can fully support this delivery or market demand. For some specific brands, such as Woof product from our company or from other different brands, I believe for capability support or some customer selection, we will make full preparation to meet the demand, especially targeted certain region, such as when you place an order with a listed time, we will offer the product. The record we have is 15 days. from manufacturing to delivery to Philippine products. But first, we need to know the clearance requirements from Philippine markets and also some legislation request, whether they have some limits for Chinese product. Perhaps you can share with us more for the legal limitation. For the Chinese side, we can guarantee the quality is good and we will deliver as fast as possible. But for the clearance of customers, we need to know that perhaps there are some hinders from the Philippine markets authority. I don't know whether I can answer the question with this one. But there also something I would like to comment. Just now, Madam Jane has mentioned all this information is comprehensive and complete. But according to me, to guarantee the sustainable supply of a channel, we also need to consider the infrastructure. In all China, you can see we can support well for the Chinese market, for Philippine market, because we not only supply Chinese Philippine market, but also around the world. A lot of product has been imported from China. So what we need to do is to make a good plan, such as we need to know what is expectation for the placement and the circulation, transportation. You need to calculate well for the time, whether they can cover the turnover days of the inventory, so that from the placement of the order to delivery of the product can be made well. So that's what we need to consider. When we have a communication with the Philippine clients, we would like to know what is your annual plan. And also in the local market, what is your like a sub-distributor, also marketing plan? Is it a good plan or it is a complete? If you had make full preparation, I fully believe that whether it's like monthly plan or weekly demand can be calculated in advance so that we can make preparation in advance. And also to deliver the product. Therefore, from the procedure-wise, the plan-wise, we can definitely meet the delivery requirements, but this will call for the cooperation from the terminal retailer and other parties to share information in a transparent way.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sir Cliff from UWell. Now, we have mentioned a lot of processes when it comes to distribution, when it comes to dealership, and of course, when it comes to it for the product to reach its target market. So from that point of view, we'd like to ask Mr. Attorney Kim David to ask questions to our panelists in China. Do you have any questions, Sir Sean, before attorney asks his question?
Actually, I have received like 20 questions from the on-set audiences.
We're going to add 20 more.
20 or 30. So I'm going to pick some and quickly walk it through. And hopefully that your side will give us a quick answer, right? Sorry?
All right, sure. We'll try as much as possible to answer everything.
Okay. And okay, the first question would be, allow me to speak in Chinese. Okay. 一次性烟
Disposable e-cigarette. Would you like to know what is the sales situation or secondary development trend? What kind of the disposable e-cigarette are most popular in Philippine markets?
All right, we have Sir John Joseph for that. What kind of disposable is most in demand in our country today?
Of course, the most, let's say, best-selling disposable pads is those products that have the most number of pops and the most best-tasting flavors. To be specific, the mentholated fruity flavors disposable pads.
All right, Sir Sean, it's where your question was your question answered?
Yep, I think so. Let me confirm this. I don't know. 我不知道谁提的问题，那基本上有回答这个问题吗？
So anyone answer this question? If you want to ask any more, you can raise your hand.
Hold on, hold on.
我就想知道
I would like to ask a question, such as for the puff number. And also, which area has received more attention, whether it's a requirement for puff, or which will attract the customer best?
To answer that, we have Sir Archie because he's been dealing with lots of retailers, which attracts our consumers best when it comes to the disposable pods.
Well, definitely the more puffs, then that's what the customer is looking for. Since they can maximize their money, they can get their money's worth. And another thing is you have to make sure that your flavor is consistent. So when we say the consistency of the flavor, up to the last puff, you have to taste the flavor, the full flavor of the disposable vape.
You think this has answered your question? If you want to ask more, you're very welcome to do so.
Is CBD allowed in Philippines?
Okay, I think I can answer that question. Well, CBD is not allowed in the Philippines. It's a big no-no. Okay. However, we'll be having a new president in the next few months, and I do believe that the leading candidate for the presidency at least supports the idea or the thought of utilizing the hemp, whatever it may.
Thank you, Sir Archie. I think to give you a brief background about the law regarding that, we have attorney here, Attorney Kim David, to answer that question.
Thank you, Joy. Currently, any CBD or marijuana related product is still very, very much illegal in the country. It is regulated by RA 9165, and it is listed as one of those substances that is currently illegal in the Philippines.
Thank you, Attorney. Thank you, Sir Archie.
Thank you, Joy.
Sir Sean.
Okay, next one. Sorry. 现场提这个问题的朋友有回。
So do you think this has answered your question?
字写的能不能进固体电子烟，类似 IQOS 的形式？HMB。Is HMB allowed? Like allowed? What requirement would it be?
May we ask for more specific, what is HMB?
Heat not burn. Like IQOS.
Oh, like IQOS. Okay, heat sticks are that. So is heat sticks available or allowed in the Philippines?
I'm sorry, it's not. The question is like, is it allowed in the Philippines? HMB.
It is allowed in the Philippines.
I think what you're referring to are termed here as HTPs or heated tobacco products. If you're referring to IQOS and similar items, or tobacco being vaporized using a device, is that correct? If that's the case,
I think. Okay, yeah.
If that's the case, those are being called HTPs here in the Philippines, heated tobacco products, and they are allowed here in the Philippines.
But is it allowed to import to Philippines?
Yes, yes. HTPs, they are bundled together with cigarettes, HTPs, and ends or vapes. They are allowed to be imported to the Philippines.
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you, Attorney.
Beyond? Sorry, we still have 20 left to go. And okay, allow me to speak Chinese again. 过去几年
In past several years, the market had grown really fast. What we have known is that a lot of the store has concentrated in NCR, but in recent years, we noticed in certain provinces such as the Luzon Island, Bisaya, in those provinces, is there any some newly opened Tobacconist store.
Distribution, all right. So since it's mainly focused on NCR, do we have distributions in Visayas, Mindanao, something like that?
I think the best person to answer that is my Visayan dealer, Archie.
Yes, definitely. Visayas is one of our largest markets at the moment, particularly with the two brands that I'm carrying right now. I have a couple of sub dealers who are selling out products in just a matter of 3 days to 5 days. So basically, Visayas is already a huge market when we are talking about disposable vapes in particular.
Thank you, Sir Archie, for that. Sir Sean, do you have any follow-ups?
Yeah, okay. Also, second question is,一次性电子烟
The disposed cigarette is more convenient because that we do not need the coils and edges. The question is, you have a sari store, you have thousands of sari stores. Do you believe that those channels that will take a market share in terms of the disposable e-cigarette?
All right, thank you,
Joy.
Sir Sean. We have Sir Richie to answer that question.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for your question, Sean, again. I have been trying to study different options, non-traditional areas to sell the vapes. So basically, what I want to achieve here with our brand is to open up new, how do you say that, retail outlets. Traditionally speaking, as Archie mentioned earlier, there are approximately 10,000 vape shops in the Philippines, but there is like, I don't know, 15,000 convenience stores. And as you mentioned earlier, the sari-sari stores, maybe they're in the hundreds of thousands. Okay, I'll give you an example. In my village, of course, we have some neighbors. And one of the neighbors I have is it's not a sari-sari store per se, but a convenience store. So when I approached them and told them, hey, I'm distributing this particular brand, and they were initially apprehensive, of course, because they're not used to selling vape brands. They're used to selling the traditional cigarettes. But I told them, okay, let's just test the market. I'll give you 50 pieces of this particular brand. And lo and behold, Sean, it sold out in 3-4 days. I don't know. That 50 vapes I put there in the convenience store, in a local convenience store. So I would have to say yes to your question. That is something the other brands might as well explore in the future, because I think it's also something that will definitely shift from cigarettes to vaping in the future, at least here in the Philippines.
Thank you for that, Sir Richie. Sir Sean, do you have any follow-up questions for that?
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Sorry, in Chinese again. It's a question. The question is, 我经常会
I am a vapor, but sometimes I feel that my mouth is dry after vaping. Oh, this question is for Chinese panelists. So could you produce the e-liquids that is not that dry? And I also have, I cough a lot. That's because the nicotine is high. So could you produce the more smooth products? And I think this question is for Chinese panelists. I think e-cigarette liquid, that it has its own features, because that when it comes to vaping, that some moistures that will be taken. So it's quite common that to feel a dry mouth after vaping. So that will make someone to have some cough. But I think the consumers will get used to it. And so my question for the Philippine counterparts, that is that after in the new vaping bill, that is there any limitations in terms of the content of nicotine? And so what kind of the concentration of nicotine is more popular that in your market?
Thank you for that, Sir Alan. I think the best person to answer that one for specifics is Attorney Kim. Attorney Kim, can you please answer that question?
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Alan, for the question. As far as regulation is concerned, there is no specific cap for the amount of or percentage of nicotine per bottle or per serving or per unit. Instead, there is a prescribed amount of excise tax per milliliter of salt nic or per 10 milliliters of free-base nicotine. So that will affect disposables, that will affect refill liquids as well. As far as the question on what's the best amount of nicotine would be the best for a certain product, I think John Joseph would be well equipped to answer that question.
Okay, so regarding the nicotine content, of which is the most appropriate to apply to a formula or to a vape juice, we usually base it on the consumer. Like for example, if you were trying to quit smoking and you are from a red labeled cigarette, usually we prefer to recommend them products that contains higher percentage of nicotine. When the consumer is just trying to to explore vaping and to try the alternative flavors, we usually recommend them the 0 mg or the juice without any nicotine content.
All right, thank you for that, Sir John Joseph. Sir Sean, more questions from your end?
Yeah, 还是刚刚这个问题。
Yes, and some consumer reflected that the more intake of vaping that will make the throat dry, the mouth dry. So are there a new R&D to produce new products?
Colleagues can hear about it. So actually we have a partner because I think many new beginners, they will have these problems. For the nicotine, if they're too high, the throat may feel as it's not good. So maybe throat heat is too much, but I still need nicotine. So is there any way to fix this problem? So there we just needed a partner. They are working on this problem. The partner, they have the new tech. They put the water into the juice. So we can imagine for a normal pod, if we add water into the pod, what will be found out? So I think first thing will be leaking. Second thing, it will be burning. So if you just add water into the juice, there will be many problems. But why my partner, they want to add it? Because they think, for our human body, 17% of our human body is water. So nicotine can be dissolved in the water. If we add the water into the juice, we can make the nicotine absorb very fast. We can make the nicotine satisfaction much faster. And because the water can make the flavor, make the nicotine more smooth. And as we know, in the normal e-juice, their content is PG and VG. For the PG, I'm not sure, but for VG, definitely no doubt that we have some sweetness inside. So some e-juice company, I go to the e-juice company, I tell them, I think this flavor is not pure because I think they have some strange taste inside the e-juice. That is that the VG do have a little bit of flavors. They do have a little bit of sweetness. So how to fix about this? So the partner, they're working on it. They spend a lot, invest a lot of money, time to working on this new tech. They put water inside. The water can make the flavor more pure. Actually, in China markets, in last year, we know there is some e-juice company that making this kind of water-based e-juice. But as I know, most of it is kind of lower than 10%. But for this partner, they already got it to 13%. So in their e-juice, 13% of the e-juice is water. So we can imagine, for human body, water can make us more softable, more softable. So when you dry mouth, because like the Alan said, the VG will absorb water. So when you long time vaping, you will feel your mouth is dry. But after you use this kind of e-juice, because it's water-based, so when you vape, there is some water inside to your mouth. So you are not that easy to feel almost dry. I'm coming from Inoking, but I know this a partner is called Acrus. Inoking is kind of cooperation with them to have some products soon. But here have many manufacturers here. I think they can get the chance to cooperation with Acrus as well. They will have some more news on the social media. You can see and talk with them. But we are honored to have the chance to work with this Acrus company together. And for the Philippine market, as I said before, Inoking is kind of a new brand. Even we founded it in 2011, it's 11 years now. But for Philippine market, it's kind of still new brand. But why our company is called Inoking? Because our founder, they want the name is Innovation King, so they call it Inoking. So we always focus on new tech, innovation product. So this is why we spent a lot of time and money together with partner to get up some new things. I think we need some new things to the market. So I'm sure we will bring some wonderful device to Philippine markets.
Thank you, Ms. Cathy from Inoking. That is a very informative statement from your company and from your end. And I think we're looking forward to adapt that kind of research into incorporating it with our vaping industry now, especially in the market here in the Philippines that are looking forward to having more brands and partnerships between China and Philippines. Do you have any more questions from your answer, Sean?
Yeah. 想问一下Cliff.
Yes. Yeah. Cliff, do you have any supplement to the last questions? Okay, no. Next question.
Legal or allowed in your country?
Sorry, Sir Sean, may you please repeat the questions you have asked?
Electronic cigar. Is it still e-cigarette?
So it's still.
我的问题是对的吧？是对的问的。
So the question should be e-cigar. Is e-cigar legal in Philippines?
All right, for that, attorney, may you please answer that question?
You can answer that question. Okay,
Yes.
Joy, sorry. I think this question confused me, but anyway, let's move on to next one.
All right, Sir Sean.
OK， 这里居然还有广告啊！我们是赛尔美专注电子烟代工，目前是定位是。
That we have come that I come from the e-cigarette company. So what's the opportunities and challenges in Philippines?
We have and the challenges we have as a OEM factory.
Sir Sean, will you please repeat the question?
Okay, so as OEM factory, so for the Philippines market, what would be our chances and the challenges?
Sir Richie, will you please answer that? What are their chances and challenges when it comes to penetrating the Philippine market?
Very hard question. Well, in any industry, it's very, especially now, no, with the globalization of businesses all over the world, it's very hard to penetrate the market. So, of course, you have to act very quickly. If you have the product already, ship it out. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, it's very important also to establish a legal entity in wherever you will be going to open up your business. Second is establish a very good partnership with the local company, of course, not unless you want to open up your own operations here in the Philippines. Not to mention, of course, that particular company should be able to develop a distribution network that would, of course, market your services to the consumer. So it's not easy, but it is easy if you go to the right route. So I hope I was able to answer your question, Sean.
Thank you, Sir Richie. Sir Sean?
Okay. Okay, another question from 梅尔斯特，想问
This is from Master Technology. In Philippines, if we want to find the best partner, or also most efficient channel, what they are, and how to find the best, like the agent or working partner?
Sorry, can you please repeat the question?
way to find the reseller and the distributor in your country?
Archie and Richie, that's it.
A way to find a retailer or distributor in our country. Sir Richie, I'm sure you can answer that question.
I'm here. Well, there are a lot of distributors here in the Philippines, but of course, as I mentioned earlier, it's not easy because you have to get along with the distributor. You have to see eye to eye in terms of how you want to direct the business here in the Philippines. There are a lot of factors to consider before you partner with a particular distributor. So it's easy, but it's hard also. I hope that answers your question, Sean.
Sir Sean, were we able to answer your question?
Okay, so that's basically all the questions by my side.
All right. Thank you, Sir Sean. I think we have no more questions from our end as well, and no more questions from our representatives from China. So thank you so much for that. But before we end this program, I'd just like to ask Sir Richie, do you have any events in Manila for July that you would like our friends in China to also know about?
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Joy, for that. Yes, friends from China, all the manufacturers there, all the gigantic brands there, I would like to invite you. We are organizing the first ever Vape Summit Philippines to be held this 2022. We're looking at this event to be a trade and consumer show. And not to mention, of course, this will be the biggest party in the Philippines this year. So here you can see the poster, and if you're interested to participate, please let us know, and we will take care of your brands. Okay? So Joy, thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Richie. Again, as pertaining to your questions earlier, if you want to find a retailer, distributor here in the Philippines, might as well join the very first vaping summit here in the Philippines that is happening on July 2022. Of course, courtesy of Red Entertainment, headed by our CEO, Mr. Richie Dequina. So thank you so much for that, Sir Richie. And thank you very much to our dear guest speakers from the Philippines and as well from China. And all to our audience, audience who stayed with us up until this point. This has been your host and moderator for this year's ValiTalk Vaping Lifestyle Talk Global Vaping Market Hybrid Panel Discussion. I am Joy Berkama from all of us here in the Philippines. Please take care of yourselves always and be safe there in China. Back to you, Sean.
Okay. Allow me to say something about this program in Chinese. 那各位，那基本上我们的就
Well, we have finished the Q&A, but if you have any further question, you can still ask them since our guest has still online. And actually, we also get some Chinese guests. They are remaining in the meeting room. They have not leave, so you are very welcome to ask. And so you're very welcome to ask any question that cross your mind. I know that some questions have not been selected from this list because I think some QL question or so whether it's allowed for the QL to invite fans. I think this question has been already covered. And for other questions such as in social media selling for e-cigarette, whether this is legal or not, I think it has all been covered. So if you have any other question, we can still open the floor for one question. One more question.
Richie, the Philippine Vape Summit will be online or who will be streaming? I want to watch it.
It will be in line. It's a live event, but we will stream it also.
Oh, cool. Send me the link.
Yeah. And I have here the influencer, I have here the artist, and it's one big party.
All right, cool.
I hope to see you there.
I will be online. I will see you.
Okay, $1 million. No, I'm just kidding.
Have a great day.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Sir Alan. Thank you, Sir Richie. Do we have any more follow-ups before I give the floor to Sir Sean?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, what would be the most strangest flavor or product that the local consumers have ever mentioned?
Durian?
Strangest
榴莲
flavor. I think
榴莲
Sir-
是不是最奇怪的？
I think Sir John can answer that. What is the strangest or weirdest product that we have here in the Philippines?
There are a lot of strange flavors released in the Philippine market, but there's this one juice line I can't forget. I know you're familiar with a Filipino dish called sinigang and adobo. And I'm really sure you don't want it to be your vape juice flavor. There's just this one day, a person were involved in the Philippine juice manufacturing tend to create this one, and I guess it doesn't go so well. But it's it.
All right, there you have it, Sir Sean. It's sinigang. It's a Filipino dish here in the Philippines. So do you have any more questions, Sir Sean, regarding the weirdness of its flavor?
It's okay.
Yes.
Excuse me, I'm from ALD Group, also a OEM manufacturer, also have our own brand. And my question is kind of sensitive, but if you don't mind, my question is, what is the end user price in Philippines? And what is the tax, import tax, and VAT, etc., etc.? And last one is, since I think it's a good business for you, and actually, what is the margin from your side? And the second one is, for example, I'm talking about, for example, the product for 2 ml e-juice, 400 puffs, for example.
Okay, so the first question, let me just reiterate it. Sir, you're asking about the end user's price, the distribution and taxes here in the Philippines, am I right?
Yes.
All right. For that question, we have a distributor that can answer that, Sir Richie.
Am I allowed to answer that question? No. The Philippines is a very, it's a sachet market. So prices up there in terms of consideration. Sometimes I hear that the consumers doesn't care about the flavor, but of course they have to be able to pay for it. So if it's affordable, it's more marketable. But of course, if you balance all of those things, it will be the perfect product. In terms of taxes, is that one of your questions?
Yes.
Oh, I'm not that confident answering your question. Maybe my accountant can answer that. He's more knowledgeable to answer numbers question. And I don't want the Philippine government chasing after me. If you know what I mean. Sorry.
For example, 200, for example, 400 puffs e-cigarettes, vape product, disposable one. How much is the price? And
Okay. For example, I have here, I won't show you the brand, but a vape. This is 2,600. SRP with Joseph is, I believe, 300 or 350. That is divided by 7 to get it converted into RMB.
Okay, thank you. And second question is, since you know, there are so many brand manufacturers or OEM manufacturers, what kind of strategy would you prefer? You want to build your own brand, or you want to be just a representative, a distributor for other brands?
All right. Before I enter the vaping industry, distribution of vaping, I was, of course, observing the market, strategically checking out what are being done currently in the market. If you look at Shopee and Lazada, those are two of the most popular online stores. You will see thousands of brands, maybe. I don't know. It's countless. So how will you be able to stand out from the crowd? So when I was talking to my partner in China, I told them, okay, to do the business here, I would want to follow the process of building the company here. So I'm looking more on the long-term business side, rather than just be a trading company. I buy there and then I sell it. There's no sustainability in terms of that business model. So when somebody wants to partner with us, with Red Distribution, I tell them our conditions. Okay, that we're not here as a salesman, but rather brand builders who will develop the brand and will do long-term business in the Philippines.
That
All
makes
right,
great
thank
sense.
you, Sir Richie.
Yeah, that makes great sense. Thank you, Mr. Richie. And
Thank you very much.
I'm being from ALD Group. I will send you a LinkedIn request on. I will find
Thank
you
you
out.
very much.
All right.
Come on, let's
thank
talk
you.
after.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Sir Richie. Do we have any more questions from the audience?
Any more question from our online offline audience? Any more question? Please, if you have a question, you can raise your hand.
What's your question? Oh, okay, sorry.
Well, my question is, just an HTP product. I would like to know what is the market situation for this product, HTP, and also is there any channel to focus on this product or produce this product?
Thank you for that. Who would like to answer the question regarding the HTPs? Sir John Joseph?
HTP stores are usually available in supermarkets, malls, and other commercial areas in the Philippine market.
Can you find it in an e-cigarette store?
Yes, of course. It's also available in e-cigarette stores.
And then I would like to know, have you been involved in this kind of business yourself?
Yes, of course. I'm involved in the industry itself, but compared to the move or to the sales of the product, As I said earlier, the disposable pads and the vape pads are dominating the Philippine market. More than the HTPs, sorry.
Well, maybe adding to that, no, when the HTP started selling in the Philippines a couple of years ago, I believe it was produced by Philip Morris, by Marlboro, right? So they started off in the market as an very expensive alternative to cigarettes. So most likely, people were already scared of HTPs because of the price. Because during the initial HTP invasion here in the Philippines, they were so expensive, they were so hard to find, and then the vape came along. And then the vape has different flavors. So you see the difference there. So flavors here in the Philippines, they sell as low as 150 pesos. So that's divided by 7 to get it at RMB. So it's very affordable. It's very cheap, actually. So it's a better alternative for a third world country like the Philippines. But of course, there's hope for HTP here in the Philippines as well. If we could re-educate the market into
Please speak to the microphone. Hello, Ricky. That you focus on 3C and now you change to vaping. So are there any changes in terms of channels? Then are the vaping products available in the 3C stores?
May we ask what specifically is 3C stores?
Consumer electronic products? Consumer electronic products, that is the 3C that I'm saying here.
Consumer electronic products, is it available?
No, he's asking, he's asking that because Sir Richie that changed from the electronic products to the vaping.
So basically what he's asking is that because Richie starts up his business from the consumer product store, okay? So he's asking, the question is that for Richie, will this still work for you? Or for example, that is it the same selling e-cigarettes via the consumer product store? I don't know if you get my question.
Sorry, we're requesting to have the question repeated. Can you please repeat it, Sir Sean, for better understanding? Yes?
Is it possible to sell electronic cigarettes in the consumer product store?
Oh.
Oh, what's
Now I understand you, Sean. Sorry for the confusion. The audio is not that clear. But definitely, as I mentioned earlier, I came from handling like 3,000 consumer electronic stores. Right now, I'm talking to the dealers of those consumer electronic stores and opening up the idea of integrating the vape into their stores. But of course, it's not that easy since, of course, their stores are registered as consumer electronic items. Then all of a sudden you will be having nicotine content technology products. So those are some of the challenges we're facing right now, and they're clarifying with the major malls, the building owners. But yes, to answer your question, we're exploring that particular venue as another outlet for our vape brands.
Thank you, Sir Richie, for that.
Okay, one more
Follow-up
question.
question.
Sorry. As we speak, can you name 5 like most efficient distribution channel in your country?
5
Top 5.
distribution channels in our country.
Oh. Okay, let me think. Okay. Right now, the biggest distribution channel I have is still inline. Okay. And I'm planning to get all those 10,000 vape shops in the Philippines. Okay. So we just started. So I have 600, but that's already big considering that we're very new in the industry. But it's very easy to penetrate the market through relationship building. That's the reason why I'm surrounded with influencers and artists. It's easier to negotiate, right? Then number 2 is online. Okay, we still maintain online presence. We have our own website which sells online. We are partners with. We have an official store with Lazada and Shopee, which are the 2 biggest online stores. On top of that, of course, we are looking at the malls. The Philippines is known to be, I don't know, that's our playground, malls. We have one of the largest malls, bigger than China. No, I'm just kidding. You have the biggest. But there are like multiple malls in every city here. So, of course, when people go inside, they will look for their vice. And that's a good venue, another venue we're looking at. Another venue that we're exploring are the sari-sari stores, as I mentioned earlier during our conversation. So we are trying to penetrate all the convenience stores and even down to that level of the sari-sari stores. So that is the 4th. 5th is how do I say this? It's something of an exploratory thing that we're doing. Since I mentioned also that we have an artist management company, so we have a lot of talents in what they call this, KOLs, right? So we're developing a system wherein we do multiple live streaming, and I don't know if it's popular also in China, but here when KOLs do their thing online, they sing, they talk, they do whatever. They also sell items, actually. So that's one of the things that Raf is very good at here. The guy beside me is doing. So there are a lot of other channels that we are still exploring to open up and introduce the vape as a, just like the cigarettes, of course. Cigarettes are being sold by practically every store here in the Philippines. So that is what we want to educate the outlets here in the Philippines, that vape is similar to this, and maybe it's better. Of course it's better, definitely. So I hope I answer your question, Sean.
Thank you, Sir Richie. Sir Sean?
Oh, wait. Oh.
I have one question. It's an invitation rather than a question, because our Philippine friends that asked some questions about the Chinese policies. I'm from ECCC, that from the committee, and because in the May 20th in Shenzhen, that we will organize the conference to introduce the latest e-cigarette monitoring laws and regulations. And I would like to invite our speakers from the Philippines. I would send you the invitation letter through Sean. I'm look forward that we have in-depth communications, because I've found out that actually you also pay attention to the Chinese policy as well.
All right, thank you so much for that invitation. I think with regard to that, we'll leave the communication between Sir Sean and Sir Richie, being the representative of our panelists here in the Philippines. But thank you, express our deepest gratitude for that offer.
Moving on, any other question? Sure, Jack. Hello.
Hi there.
大家好。
About branding and marketing. So when building a brand for the Philippines, is there any kind of key values that a brand must possess, must have to be successful in the Philippines?
All right, thank you so much for that. When it comes to marketing here in the Philippines, do we have any key values that a brand must possess for them to be able to market properly here in the Philippines?
Thank you very much for the very hard question. But to answer your question, one thing I've noticed when we started doing this vape business here in the Philippines is that, pardon my French, right? But the way I perceived vape before I entered this particular business was it's a vice. It's for some people say addicts, and the image is not really good, right? So when we did our thing here in the Philippines is we positioned the product, our brand, to be more of a lifestyle product. A product that is not bad, but rather a product that is, I don't know, how do you say that? For everyone. Of course, below 18 is not being considered in our advertising. But basically, that was the plan with our particular brand. To make it more lifestyle, to make it more acceptable in the market, in the eyes of people, especially who are opposed to vaping and cigarettes altogether. So that's how we try to position our brand here in the Philippines. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Thank you, Sir Richie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you as well, sir. Do we have any more questions from our friends in China?
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, Lichi, right? I have a question for you. Oh, so many questions for you today.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, I'm Mark. I'm from Smith. We are focused on the manufacturing the vape. We don't do our own brand. We just do the OEM and ODM service. So, my question for you is there any manufacturing vape company in Philippines or not? Or just you imported all the goods from China?
Sean, can you repeat the question, please? Sorry.
His question is actually very simple, that he is from a vape product manufacturer, and he's asking you that are there many such vape product factories in Philippines?
I know for a fact that some of my friends will be opening up a factory here in the Philippines, but right now I really don't know. All of my partners are based in Shenzhen. So as far as the Philippines is concerned, I don't think it's feasible as of the moment. I don't think any Filipinos will invest in the, making a factory, developing vapes. So I think it's zero at the moment.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, one more question from Adam. Yeah.
Hi, this is Lucas from Green Sound, and I have a question that how is the disposable vape development in the Philippine market? And yeah, disposable vape development in the Philippine market.
Oh, okay. The development of disposable in the Philippines you're talking about, am I right? Is that your question?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
how is the selling of the disposable vape?
Okay. Disposable vape, I guess, would fall under the 5th generation of vapes, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Most recently, I went to an event here in the Philippines, a vape event. Okay, that's the reason why I'm making one myself. I saw maybe 100 exhibitors there. To my surprise, 50 to 60% of all the exhibitors were disposable vapes. Most likely, it's the next wave in terms of popularity of vapes here in the Philippines. Maybe because of its convenience, right? And its price, of course. In terms of development, yes, I see a lot of development that is ongoing right now in terms of the disposable vape. Coming from a very simple USB type vape, now we have, if I may say, high technology vapes that are coming out. Some of them are with us. I'm just kidding. And the development in terms of number of puffs has been astounding, actually. In fact, in the next couple of weeks, we will be introducing 9,000, 10,000 type of puff for the disposable vapes, which is still quite new here in the Philippines. I believe we will be the first one to deploy that. So I see all the different manufacturers in China will be chasing after that holy grail, if I may say, in terms of the number of puffs. Because, of course, at the end of the day, it's still economy that will be very important. If the product is good, if the product is long-lasting, and if the product is affordable, definitely those three things would make or break a particular brand in terms of any type of vapes you put in the market. So I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much for that, Sir Richie. Thank you as well for your question. Do we have any more questions before we end the program?
Okay.
Oh, two more questions.
My question. 问题是就是跟
My question is, just now, Sir Richie has mentioned e-cigarette. In markets, we noted e-cigarette is quite difficult to promote the product with publicity. If there's a one brand, they already have a lot of preferential product, or such as our company, we have collaboration with coffee shop. Do you think in this way it will be better to cut in the Philippine market, such as we have some peripheral products or have some collaboration with other party? You can see this is my gift for everyone. We can send it to you later. This is a peripheral product. Do you think if we can cut in Philippine market through this angle, it will be easier to penetrate?
You're asking about collaborating your products to different brands so that we can market it even better. Is that right?
No, actually, I just want to say that it's kind of if there has a brands that have lots like a merchandise could do the marketing support, is that more easier to entering this market or not? Or besides that, probably we can start collaborate with the coffee shop. What we do in New Zealand, is that more easily to can penetrate the Philippine market?
Okay, until the government hasn't really implemented any strict rules or really tightened their grip in terms of their laws that will be implemented, it's still an open area to play around with. Yes, merchandising is very important. Of course, you want to stand out from the rest. And that has been my request with my partner in China, actually, to give me tons of merchandising so that I could saturate the market. Of course, coffee shops, yes, you're right. And one of the things that I've been doing recently is establishing my footprints in all the major, how do you say this, major destinations here in the Philippines. So you can see our brands already there. Because, basically we are saturating every possible venues where we could market our products.
Correct. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sir Alan. Thank you, Sir Richie.
Okay. Actually, what he said is that he will give you gifts.
What? Sorry?
He said he will deliver gifts to you.
Yeah, I will send you some merchandise from produced by.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I will see you guys later.
All right, thank you so much for that, Sir Alan. And thank you, Sir Richie, for your insights and answers with regard to the questions of our panelists and audience.
还有其他的有这个
Any more questions from our audiences? Let's pass the mic. Well, there's one question I would like to hear more, such as for the juice of nicotine content in Philippines. Is there some technical regulation for the nicotine content in juice? The other thing is for the puff scope. What kind of puff are most popular, such as from the 200 to the 10,000, you can find all different scope of puff. So that's why I would like to know which scope are more popular. Because if you post more choices to customers, sometimes it's difficult for them to choose. So that's why I want to know what is most popular scope of puff.
All right, for that, I think they have already answered the question, but just to make it more clear for everyone, Sir John, would you like to inform them about the most popular, I think, puffs that is preferred by consumers?
So if we're going to base the demand for a specific disposable pad that contains different numbers of pops, they all have this. They all have places in the market. To be honest, because some prefer those lower pops because they have lower budget for disposable, while some has a extra budget or they are able to afford these expensive types of pads, which is consists of higher pops. Yeah.
All right, thank you, Sir John Joseph, for that. Do we have any more questions from the audience?
OK, one moment. 这位先生，您的问题。
Okay, this gentleman. I think perhaps we can hear the answer from other panelists.
So no more questions from our end. Do you have any more questions from your side, Sir Sean? That wasn't even answered earlier, or that hasn't been asked yet?
Sorry, 1 minute. 帮忙回答一下。
我简单的回。
Well, I would like to answer this question briefly, according to my experience, because I have collaborated with Mr. Richie a lot for the PAP question. For the disposable cigarette, it's like from the 1,500 to the 30,000, and I think 15,000 to 2,500 is the most popular scope for the nicotine content. There are a lot of different questions and category for different brands. It's like 2, 3, 5%. And according to the regulation, in May 25, there will be a V bill. For more detail, we need to wait like May 25. But currently, there are no standard or uniform requirements. Do you think this has answered your question?
May we know what
Any
was
more
the
question?
question?
Thank you so much. OK， 还有其他人有问题吗？
Any more question?
I want to ask question to the Richie, Archie, and John. What do you think of UL in Philippines, and are you guys selling UL products?
Sorry, sir, will you please repeat the question, please?
My question is to Richie, Archie, and John. I want to know if you guys are selling our product in your stores.
As the distributor, right now I'm not handling your product, your brand. So Archie.
Well, I am right now. I'm dealing with two brands. Both brands are disposable, so I don't think we are carrying your brand, but we are very much open.
In my store, sir, UL products are available, especially the caliber models.
Okay, thank. I have one more question. Is that
You have one more question, sir?
what vape brands are you doing with now?
I'm sorry we weren't able to pick up the last question from his end. I think.
Yeah, as we know, you are a vape distributor in Philippines, and you have more than maybe 200 to 600 vape, 200 to 600 stores. And you want to know what vape brand are you dealing with now?
For the brands, I think Sir Joseph can answer that.
As of now, we are carrying a lot of brands, especially when it comes to pads and disposable pads. And when it comes to the variable mods, we cater this UL, Vupu brands, which is more accessible and more available units in our market.
All right, thank you for that, Sir Joseph. Any more questions from our friends and panelists in China?
好，那如果没有
We can wrap it up. I would like to suggest everyone if you want to have them street talk, you're very welcome to do it.
not the least, so much for joining.
All right, thank you so much, Sir Sean. To wrap up everything, thank you so much to our friends from China panelists and audience that were able to finish everything up until the end. And of course, thank you to our dear panelists here in the Philippines. If you have any more questions or plans for partnerships in the future, don't hesitate to contact Sir Sean or Sir Richie for more information. And for everyone, I hope you have learned a thing or two. Again, this is Joy Barcoma. I hope you guys are safe there in China.
Thank you so much for joining Valley today, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, guys, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean, and the entire team there. Thank you, ValiTalk. Gusto ko pa maraming question eh.